Do you struggle with sometimes seeing where your future is going or how you're going to get there? Do you struggle with trying to understand what it is that you want to do in this life? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
Gentlemen, welcome to Destiny Education Hanging with the Fellas podcast with your host, Toina.
When it comes to vision, one of the things that is truly the most challenging is that many of us are not taught how to find a vision. And finding a vision is a lot simpler than most people realize. You see, a vision is greater than a to-do list, but is as simple as a to-do list. Here's what you do. You look at your life, you look at the things that you like, you look at the things that you want to do, and you say, okay, what do I really want to do with my life? Understanding that whatever I choose, I do not have to do forever. What is it that I want to do with this life that I've been given? You see, a lot of the problems come and a lot of the hindrances come in that we tend to believe that whatever it is we decide we want to do, we have to do for the rest of our lives. That's not how this works, not even a little bit. You can decide that you want to do something for the first part of your life or for a few years, and then change in a couple of years because you're ready for something new. That's okay. Society tells you that that's not okay, but God doesn't have a problem with that. In fact, it's how you build breath into your kingdom, all right? And here's what I mean by breath. Breath means width. It's how you build the width of your kingdom. It's by having different things that you want to do, that you like to do, that you enjoy doing. And so I want you to understand that you have permission to do things that you never imagined you can do. You have permission to try things that are not reasonable or logical or make any sense. You know, let me give you an example. I always love when people say, oh, acting is a pipe dream. You know how many people have tried to be actors and how many have failed? Yeah. Do you know how many people are successful in acting? There's quite a few. You know, my favorite was when I was listening to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, I don't remember the whole story, so this is going to be a very brief paraphrase. Johnny Depp knew Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage said, you should try acting. Johnny Depp was like, okay. And so he went and he tried acting. And I think that was when he got Gilbert Grape or 21 Jump Street or something. And next thing you know, he's Johnny Depp. Like, is there anybody who doesn't know Captain Jack Sparrow? He didn't even want to act. The reason that I love it when people say stuff like that is simply this. It all is dependent on perspective. This is what God says. My people perish for lack of vision. We're not willing to go out there and imagine ourselves being successful at whatever we try. You see, you are programming yourself with something. It's either success or it's failure, but it's something. And so the more you sit back and tell yourself that'll never happen, it's not going to happen. There are some things that are going to be hard, and there are some things that might take you 30 years before you find success. But being able to pivot within a vision is highly important. It's one of the greatest superpowers that you have. You see, when you can pivot, that means that you can look at something and say, you know what? This road is a little too hard right now. I'm thinking that now is not the time to break into this. So I'm going to move in this direction and we'll see when that comes back around. What I have always experienced is that when I take the time to pivot and move to something else, I find success in that something else, and then it opens the door for me to go back to what I wanted to do beforehand. I'm not the only one who has that experience. I have watched client after client after client after client have that same experience. And the reason is because that pivot allows your brain to say, okay, I need to keep opening doors and working on this in the background as a subroutine, but this is not the foreground. This is the foreground of what I'm doing. And so what happens is as you're building the next thing, something out of the blue, something comes along, and voila, guess what? Now you're able to open a door and move into the next direction. It is highly important that you be able to pivot. You see, when you sit back and go, oh, this is all there is. Oh, this is the only money that I make. Oh, I don't make enough money. When you do all of that, you're doing yourself more harm than good. You're hindering the process. Keep in mind what the Bible says. In Amos 3:3, can two people walk together unless they be agreed? The problem that so many people have is that they are not in agreement. And one will say, I'm on agreement, I'm on page, like, yeah, I'm with you. But if they were with you, they would be working on ideas with you. When the person isn't sitting there just helping you discover things, when they're putting everything on your plate and saying, figure it out, or going, oh, well, I have to work all day, so you need to do something. What they're telling you in that moment is you don't do anything. And that's not someone that you want to keep surrounding yourself with. That's someone who is constantly looking for someone to blame. You're not going to find the level of success you are seeking and looking for if that's the type of person that you're working with. You understand what I'm saying? And so I want you to really get this down in your spirit, in your system, in everything, because when it gets hard to build your kingdom, that should bring you excitement, because the adversity tells you that you're on the right path. So how do we know this? Okay, there's two ways. When the adversity is insurmountable, that oftentimes means not yet. When you keep knocking at different doors and no door opens, that means not yet. It's not no. And so what I want you to really understand is that there is no such thing as no when you are building your kingdom. I'm not talking about if you're in an interaction with a woman and you want to go one direction and she says no. The moment she says no, get up and walk out of the building. Be done with it. There's no reason to hang around anymore. The big N and the big O has been spoken. Leave that situation before you find some not so great things coming your way. Okay? What I'm talking about is no in the sense of, if a bank says, you go to a bank and say, hey, I want to buy a house, and they go, no. Okay. You get up and you go to the next bank. Sometimes you'll go to 500 banks before you will find one that says, oh, yeah, we can make this happen, not a problem. And it'll be that simple. Other times, while you're going through that process, you'll think you're ready, but stuff will start to rise in your head. You'll think, I need to get some of these credit things together. I need to get some of this debt together. I need to. And those are the things that let you know not yet is what you're facing. The Lord is good. And what makes him good is that he always leaves you clues as to what it is that needs to come next. We only ever hear no as the term not yet. It's important that you remember this, because if you understand that not yet is simply saying the time is coming, but today is not that time, you will begin to see things so much differently. And you will develop this perseverance that people begin to admire, because no matter what you go through, you don't quit, you don't burn out, you don't get tired. And the reason that you don't is because the Lord tells you when you get tired, you're going to mount up on wings. And all of a sudden, guess what? You will have the energy and the strength that you need to make it through. And that's the thing I want you to understand. Perseverance is your best friend. And I have learned personally and experienced all the time, no is my best friend. When people tell me no over something that I think is absolutely the easiest thing that should be done, it makes me excited and I go, oh, no? Okay, well, let me show you how I'm going to do yes. And sometimes it may take 6 months, 8 months, a year, but it doesn't matter. I still get it done. And I want you to understand that you have that same capability and that same ability. You just have to understand that what you've got to be willing to do is to never take no for an answer. No means that one person you're talking to isn't willing to help you. That's fine. Don't help me. There's a million other people out here who will be a part of this, and I will go and work with them. And that's the thing that's most important. Who are you willing to work with, and who are you willing to develop relationships with? These are the things that I want you to really think about. When you're building your kingdom, you're going to run across a lot of people who are going to tell you no. A lot of times you're going to stand on the principles and feel like the principles told you no. The principles didn't tell you no. They're just telling you not yet. The statement I love the most is this: things work on you until they can work for you. It's been funny kind of dealing with this journey, right? Bringing the hanging with the fellas and trying to talk about what's going on, and being a woman who is building a male audience was not the easiest thing in the beginning. It was quite the challenge. And what was challenging about it was, that I have this demeanor that talks to men, but there are a lot of men out there who come with ridiculousness. It took time to learn that my audience is not every man. It took time to learn how to present things in a way that makes sense and keeps men attracted to it. It took time to learn how to be the woman who could stand before you and say, hey, I'm not giving you nothing I haven't done. Because, you're going to have men who come to you and say, what do you know about holding together a household? What, you got some time? How many different stories can I tell you? Let me tell you about what it's like to be married to someone who really doesn't lift a hand to help. Let me tell you what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who constantly has nothing but negativity to say to you. And it's funny because he would turn around and say to you, if that guy was still in my life, he would turn around and say to you, oh no, she was always negative, she was always this, she was always that. You know what the irony of that is that I would sit there and say, what are you talking about? You can do this. You are the person who can walk in and do X, Y, and Z. You're the person who can blah, 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 blah. And now 15 minutes later, I'm lying and nothing's real. You see, I know I've had to go through these situations because God did not allow me to sit up here and talk to men without first making me live through the pains that men have to live through. And it's really a challenging thing. So during that process, nothing felt like it was working, right? Everything felt like it was falling apart, and we were never ever going to get our flow. We were never going to get to that place. Then all of a sudden, after we went on our hiatus, it was like we went to another level. We elevated and we started moving. We had more to say. We had more to do. We had, a better team coming in. I mean, things were really beginning to flow. And so now they've shifted from that point of, hey, we're working on you, to now we're working for you. But I had to be willing to stick with it until we got here. That's the hard part of this, is developing that stick-to-itness and the perseverance that allows you to get to that next place. And sometimes it means you have to work full-time while you are getting this together. And it's funny because there are a lot of people who think that when you work, you have to work outside the house. But I'll tell you what, I have worked double duty, both in the house and outside of the house, from the house. It's frustrating when you got to fix everybody's life, when you got to make sure people aren't beating up on your kids in school. There's a lot in this world. And there's a lot that God didn't design for us to have in this world that now all of a sudden we have. So today, as we sit here and we have this hanging with the fellows, here's what I want you to understand. You have everything it takes to build the kingdom the way you want to. When you sit down, I want you to really think about it, okay? I don't care if you're on a bar stool. I don't care if you're on the couch. I want you to sit back and to be like, you know what? There's an entire world out here. What do I want to do? LL Cool J has a song that he did with A. Marie. It was in Deliver Us from Eva. I know, I'm showing my age. He said, If the man can conceive it, the mind can achieve it. As long as you can conceive it, you're gonna make it happen. And that's the thing that I need you to understand. If your mind can see it, you're going to make it happen, no matter how long it takes. Remember, when LL Cool J got his start, rap was not a thing. As a matter of fact, let's talk about Tipper Gore, Al Gore's ex-wife. She went on and declared war on hip-hop. Declared war. Oh, we need to label these. We need to do this, that, and the other. This was awful. It's this, it's that. And so that's where your rating system came from. It was Tipper Gore. I have no use for that woman. I'm sorry. I'm not going to talk about her. I don't like her. There was nothing she did that had any value to it, because now they rate everyone. But in the beginning, there was only one type that she wanted to rate, and it was hip hop. There were drug songs. There were all sorts of things back then. But no, as long as these guys came out with it, LL Cool J, Run DMC, Queen, all the founders, she wanted to label it. That's the kind of thing you're going to face as you're building your kingdom. You're always going to have people who want to stand in your way. They want to make it hard for you. They want to do this. And it's really funny that now, 50 years later, people are like, Tipper who? Right, exactly. But they know what hip hop is, don't they? As long as you can see it, you're going to make it happen. So you're sitting down, you're on your lounge chair, you're on your bar stool, you're in your couch, you're doing whatever. I want you to think about this entire earth that has 7 huge continents. And I want you to shut out all the noise, because if you listen to the noise, you think you can't do anything. Like, I recently saw something where Vladimir Putin made a stupid comment. I'm like, why did we put this out there for people to hear? It's Vladimir Putin. Everything he says is stupid. Like, why are we playing this? Do you understand what I'm saying? But people want to do that. Whatever. Ignore that mess. Because if you listen to that mess, it stops you from moving forward. I want you to get to the place where you are sitting down and you're like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I can do. This is how I'm going to do it. Oh yeah, and I can do this, this, and this. And then I want you to find someone that you can share it with, okay? Now be careful. Because if you share it with somebody and they say, that's a dumb idea, man. Like, you can't make that work. Oh, then you cut them out of your life instantly. Now you know it's a beautiful idea, right? Because anybody who comes along and tells you it's stupid, they're trying to steal it. No. You keep it to yourself. But you need to have one friend. If you don't have a friend, that's all right. Just write it down in a journal. Talk to God. Say, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. And go forward from there. And understand that you're going to achieve what you set out to do, because that's what you set out to do. And that's how you make it happen. That's how you develop the vision. You sit down and you allow yourself to think of the craziest things that you want to do. I have 2 crazy things that I want to do. I want to change the U.S. forever, and I want to end world hunger. Those are the 2 things I want to do. The one thing I can take to the bank is that I will do both of those before I die. Don't ask me how. I work on the plan every day. But I'll let you know as it unfolds. And you'll be watching it as it unfolds, because it will be on camera every minute of the day. I just want you to understand that. Because there are some things that are coming. There are some things that are happening that I'm excited about, that I'm looking forward to. And when you have that excitement, that's when you know. Now listen, again, you are going to encounter people who want to make it hard. That's okay. Keep moving. Nobody has the right to stop you. You keep moving forward. And that's what you're going to do. And on that note, I'll see you next week.
Fear has no power in this bright hour. We touch the sky, we rise and fly. Let the music take control. Feel it in your soul. Fear no more, we're unstoppable.